Let's talk about your inner child. The one factor which has been influencing your thoughts, behaviors, and your actions that you're taking to this day. And this is something you may be thinking that I'm over-exaggerating on. But with things like childhood trauma, these things can carry on well into our adulthood. And this video isn't to fix all of your childhood trauma issues, but it's just a short video to make you more aware of the situation as a whole. And I'm not going to act like I'm an expert in this topic, since this journey is deeply personal and unique to each person, since every single person has been dealt a different hand in life. But before we get into anything else, what exactly is the inner child? So the inner child is essentially part of our subconscious, which retains our emotions, memory, and experiences from our early years. And this encompasses a wide range of things, from our innate sense of wonder, playfulness, and creativity, to our past traumas, fears, and unmet needs. And by reconnecting with that part of ourselves, we can go through that process of working through those internal issues and rediscovering joy so that we can live a more fulfilling and happy life. And this process often begins by recognizing and understanding how our upbringing shaped us. And the type of family structure that you've grown up in essentially builds the foundation of your psychological and emotional development. And everybody's upbringing is going to look a bit different. So I'm going to go over the most common types of family structures that individuals are usually brought up in. And you can see for yourself where you lie in this. So in families where there's an anxious mother and a workaholic father, these children often end up experiencing emotional instability and neglect, which often leads to self-worth and attachment issues. Whereas in households with overprotective parents, these children may end up struggling to actually make decisions and being independent, since they have always been shielded from taking on challenges and failures. And for those with a single parent household, the child may struggle with an absence of a male role model if the father wasn't present. And this can impact the individual's understanding of masculinity, authority, and protection, potentially leading to difficulties in forming healthy relationships and establishing a clear sense of self. And for individuals with an absent mother, this can manifest in difficulties with emotional expression and forming healthy attachments. And unfortunately, I won't be diving deep into my personal story, but hopefully those examples gave you enough information to look at your own life and see where you're at with this. And on the topic of family structures, we can't also not talk about the development of both our identity as well as the identity of our guardians or our parents, along with the behaviors of both parties, which ends up playing a huge role when you get into adulthood. Since parents or guardians may consciously or unconsciously end up using their children for their own unmet emotional needs. One example is that parents may expect their children to compensate for their lack of achievements in their own life, so they end up seeking validation through their children's achievements. This could involve pushing their kids into academic careers, for instance, or doing certain activities so that they can live vicariously through their children's successes. But when you really think about it, this places an unfair burden on the child, who may end up feeling personally responsible for their parents' happiness. And this pressure can stifle a child's ability to pursue their own passions and develop a genuine sense of self. And this is why it's so important for an individual to go through that process of experimenting with different identities and belief systems in efforts to try and understand the self. And I'll provide a couple of examples so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Say there was this father who was this workaholic superachiever. Now, the son of that father may end up actually rebelling psychologically by, say, dropping out or taking a less conventional path in life. And this sort of mentality can extend into our belief systems. Say your parents were super religious. Now, as a child growing up, you may actually rebel psychologically, like with the previous example, by, questioning if this is all even true, and you end up becoming an atheist or agnostic, or basically not really following it. Now, with this part of the video, I'm going to be going over one bit of advice, which I wish my younger self knew and could do. Now, that one thing, as silly as it may sound, is to genuinely practice self-compassion and get back in touch with that creative inner child part of yourself, which you've neglected all this time for whatever reason that you've come up with, whether it was work or study or whatever excuse. And I would recommend really being action-oriented in this. Question everything. Do stuff that your younger self used to do and enjoy, and really try to pick up the patterns on what actually makes you happy. I appreciate you watching the video, and if you're still interested, you can check out one of the videos that are popping up on screen right now.